Welcome back to another episode of Movie Mayhem. As always, I'm Spanky.
I'm G.
Usual shout out goes to Chucky's Playground. Great place to be, looking sharp thanks to Tiffany Valentine.
Yeah.
The Metal Matt Podcast. Chucky 115 Awesome doing his video tributes.
Mm-hmm.
And the Ballad of Tiffany Valentine by Simon Gray.
Yeah, that's doing pretty good.
So, yeah. Pardon us if for today it's New Year's Day and we're kind of hungover, so we got fucked up last night. So
Yeah.
at the time of this recording, so if you hear us puke or belch or just shit our pants, it's likely due to our inebriation.
There's
from the
no
prank.
puking that happened on my end.
On your end, you didn't drink like I drank.
Yeah.
But anyway, we kind of continued this week with another dramatic movie. And this was a dramatic Adam Sandler movie, which I actually felt was kind of decent compared to his other ones. And it has good ratings on IMDb.
Well, there's only one other dramatic Adam Sandler movie I know.
Like Punch Drunk Love or Spanglish.
Yeah, Spanglish wasn't too bad.
Jack and Jill.
Oh, fuck that movie.
But, yeah, I don't know. But, yeah.
Funny people.
Yeah, that's kind of dramedy. But, so the movie we did this week is from 2007, called Reign Over Me. And it stars Don Cheadle, Adam Sandler,
Liv Tyler, Jada Pinkett Smith. That's her mom. That's Willow Smith is the one who sings that.
Oh. Who else is in there?
Donald Sutherland.
He briefly, yep.
And that's about it. I don't know anybody else anyway.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anyone notable, but and this is a movie. It really it's hard to describe. It's like it's the most not Adam Sandler movie he's done.
There's no funny talking. No.
Well, he does kind of talk funny, but that's like his character.
Yeah, but there's no.
There's none of that. Stop looking at me, Swan. There's none of that shit. And the premise of this movie is Don Cheadle plays a man named Alan Johnson, who's a dentist. He's like one of the more expensive, luxurious dentists.
Yeah, he puts in fake teeth.
And he randomly encounters his old college roommate, who was also a dentist for a while, named Charlie Feynman, who's played by Adam Sandler. And the whole premise of this movie, this is like a straight-on drama. It's a really long drama. It's like 2 hours long.
Yeah.
It's extremely sad.
Yes.
And the story for Charlie, played by Adam Sandler, is his wife, 3 kids, and their dog were on one of the flights that
was hijacked
on 9/11 and crashed, and they died. And he is struggling to cope with it. He's kind of become a hermit.
He's trying to forget about who they are.
Yeah, or he doesn't like actively try to forget. He just doesn't acknowledge anything. He pretty much doesn't remember.
Yeah. And
so Don Cheadle kind of like starts reuniting with him and becoming better friends with him and trying to help him. And there's different scenes, like there's some other smaller plots going on. Like Don Cheadle's wife is kind of like a
annoying as hell.
Controlling bitch.
All she wants is for them to play puzzles together. And
he doesn't want to have it. And then there's like Don Cheadle doesn't get any respect from his partners in his dentist's office.
Even though he's the one who made the practice.
And there's a crazy psycho bitch that wants to blow him.
Yeah.
And then when she's like, I want to blow you. And when he tells her to leave, and he's not having any of that, she like slaps a lawsuit against him saying he came on her. And that's where his partners kind of become dicks to him.
But then she says that she was being ridiculous.
And then Liv Tyler plays
The therapist.
Angela Oakhurst, who's a therapist that works in the same building. And it's kind of funny, like, Alan tries to get, like, the free therapy by catching her walking out the door. It's one of those fucking things. And eventually starts asking a little about, as he interacts with Charlie, and he notices, like, that Charlie, first off, he doesn't work, but he has a shitload of money because of the government payoff and the insurance payoff from 9/11.
Yeah.
So he can take care of himself.
Yeah.
And he's constantly remodeling his kitchen, like, every few months.
Yeah.
And you learn later on in the film, the reason he does that is because that was one of the last things he discussed with his wife.
He snapped at her because she wanted to remodel the kitchen. And he's like, I'm tired of talking about the kitchen.
And he has, like, these episodes where these fits of rage when Alan or some other people kind of bring up the parts that he doesn't want to remember. There's a scene where they're in a bar. And Alan...
Well, he thinks that, like, Don Cheadle is, like, somebody set him up.
Yeah, he's paranoid, thinking... Because the other thing is... The other aspect of this movie is there's his mother and father-in-law who are constantly trying to, like...
talk with him
and whatnot, and they won't let him be.
Yeah.
And so he's paranoid and thinks that, like, every attempt to talk about everything is, like,
set up by them
to, like, get him to go see a therapist or something. And Alan does kind of do that a couple times. He tries to, like, plant a therapist as a random person in the store, and they hang out, and there's one scene, and all Charlie does is he remodels his kitchen all the time. He plays a video game, Shadows of the Colossus, in his apartment. He plays music and collects vinyl records.
Yeah.
And he rides around on his scooter. And
eats a lot of Chinese food. I'm surprised he's not dead.
And the only other people that interact with him in his life is his landlord.
Yeah, because she knows the situation because his whole family lived there before the attacks.
And she just kind of, I guess, enables him, but she just lets him be. Because she doesn't want to see him get harmed. And then the other person is Sugarman, who's like his accountant.
Yeah.
But you later find out that they were friends for 14 years or whatever.
Yeah. They
played golf all the time. Their families vacationed together. And as the day after 9/11, it all stopped. And then it's kind of revealed, like, the reason Charlie is getting so close to Alan is because Alan has never met his family.
Yeah, so he's not expecting questions from him.
Yeah, so as Sugarman reveals, it's like you're willing to just let him be. And that's kind of the main thing of this. And then there's, like, a scene where Alan's hanging out with him all day and all night, and then he gets a phone call that his father died, and Charlie's kind of a dick to him about it because
he's so desensitized about loss.
Because he has, like, severe post-traumatic stress disorder.
Yeah.
And yeah, so he's as G said, he's so desensitized to stuff like that. Because they just get done watching a movie marathon, and he gets a call saying his dad died, and Charlie's like, "Well, want to go get some breakfast?" And Al's like, "My dad just died." And then he leaves, and that's where you kind of meet Sugarman for the first time as his accountant, because Charlie feels guilty about it and tries to give him $1 million.
Yeah, so because he doesn't want to lose another friend.
And Sugarman, he kind of comes across as a dick, but then he's trying to protect Charlie from people taking advantage of him.
Because he has so much money.
Yeah, he doesn't. So he says he will do whatever he can, short of legal action, to prevent Charlie from giving him that $1 million, but then Alan's like, I don't even want it, and it's all good. So, and then later, that's where you find out how Sugarman and his family were friends with his, and all that, and then, he has a couple, mental breakdowns, Charlie comes and visits Alan in his dentist office, and that kind of brings up bad memories. Because Alan's like, well, do you miss it? And because Charlie was once a dentist, and he kind of throws a fit and rips apart the office. And then that's where he meets the crazy girl that wants to suck Alan's dick.
Yeah.
She wants that big chocolate dick. And so it kind of just moves on from there. He kind of gets Charlie to start seeing Angela.
Yeah, well, he was living with Tyler.
And those therapy sessions are usually brief.
Yeah, because as soon as she brings anything up that would, hint at talking about his past, he's like, is the session over?
And of course she's like, it can if you want it to be, and then he leaves.
Well, yeah, because they can't really force it.
Yeah, so, and then it kind of gets a little darker.
Well, because she finally tells him, she's like, there's no point in you coming if you're not going to open up. But you don't need to tell me, but you need to tell somebody what happened. And
then he sits down and he talks with Alan and tells him everything.
Yeah, and it's sad.
And he's sitting there blubbering, and I'm just amazed, it's Adam Sandler doing all this.
Yeah.
And he does a pretty good job. And then, is it later that night? He gets drunk?
Yeah, he gets drunk and he finds a gun in his apartment.
And you think he's going to kill himself, but he can't find any ammo. But it's also forced him to, go through all the shit in his apartment. And so he puts the gun in his pocket and he goes out for a walk. And he's just walking around and he sees two cops in a restaurant, so it appears like he's looking to do suicide by cop.
Yeah.
So, because what he does is, after that, he sees the cop sitting in a window, and he goes and walks in front of a cab that stops and starts an argument with the cab driver and pulls the gun on the cab driver. It has no ammo in it, though. And then the cops come out, one of them's pointing a gun at him, and he's, telling him, just do it. Just do it. And then the other cop tackles him, and then he gets taken for, a psych evaluation. That's kind of where this movie, reaches a climax, because then the whole thing is the mother, because Charlie doesn't have any other family. It's revealed, his parents died when he was in grade school. He lived with his aunt, and then his aunt died before he got married. So the only family he really has left is his mother and father-in-law.
Yeah.
And they're really concerned because they just want him in their life. And they think what's best for him is to hospitalize him for up to a year to get treatment. Forced treatment. And, of course, all of Charlie's friends and Angela, played by Liv Tyler, they just want... The whole thing is let him find his own way.
Yeah, well, and surely it's true. I mean, all that, it does take time.
And, so then there's kind of a court scene, because they take him to court.
And that part bothered me.
And it's, the judge is played by Donald Sutherland, and so it's pretty much the mother and father-in-law with a lawyer trying to get Charlie institutionalized for treatment.
Yeah.
And when he freaks out, when he gets really nervous, and when he has these fits, he always has headphones on.
Mm-hmm.
And when he gets really nervous and whatnot, he'll make sure he puts them on his ears and turn up the music.
I'll start singing.
Yeah, he'll start singing along to it. It's whenever he's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And so then and the mother-in-law is kind of a little, I don't know.
She's a bitch. I don't like her.
She is, and she's a little unstable too. She has a bunch of outbursts, and how the last time they saw Charlie, or he visited, he had a
meltdown.
A meltdown. He broke a lamp that was part of a set of that their daughter had, the other one. And Charlie kind of has like a outburst, and there's like, it's a goddamn lamp!
It is.
And so the lawyer for the mother and father-in-law pulls a real scumbag move. Because he starts...
showing pictures.
Yeah, he starts talking to the father-in-law, and he's like, do you carry...
Which is not necessary to have pictures of them.
And he asks the father-in-law, like, do you carry pictures of them in your wallet? And he goes, who won it? And he starts showing these pictures and holding them up, and it's really making Charlie uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And and then his landlord gives him his headphones, and he's just kind of rocking back and forth. And he just keeps showing them, daughter after daughter after daughter, then the wife.
And then the picture of all of them, and then puts it in front of
Yeah,
Charlie.
he, walks by the table Charlie's sitting at and slips it right in his view.
And then he freaks out.
Yeah, he completely freaks out, and
court is dismissed, and then that's when the Donald Sutherland takes, the in-laws, and then the
counsel.
The counsel on both sides, and is like, if you pull that shit again.
So he said he'll have, a hardened criminal use him as a dress-up doll.
Yeah.
And he pretty much says the only people that should be deciding this is his family. And the only family he has pretty much are the mother and father-in-law. But he also says, he might need treatment, but he might not.
Yeah.
And he tells the family that they should take all weekend and think about it.
And think about what their daughter would want with her husband.
And then then it kind of cuts away. Charlie starts kind of interacting with the crazy bitch and the therapist.
Mm-hmm.
And the crazy bitch is like, can't they just see he has a broken heart? And then that kind of sets Charlie off, so he goes in to talk to his mother and father-in-law.
And it says that, he doesn't need pictures because he sees them everywhere.
Yeah, he sees a German Shepherd, and he automatically sees the poodle that they lost.
Yeah.
And he says, at least you guys have each other.
I have no one.
Yeah. And then he kind of, hugs and kisses the mother-in-law and apologizes. And then they don't really reveal what the decision was.
But I think,
they let him.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a chance of... Because he moved out of the apartment where his family was in, and then went to his own space.
And that was his way of moving on a little bit. And the only thing he left behind when his mother...
Was that fucking lamp.
Was the other lamp for the mother-in-law. And then it shows him at his new apartment where... Oh, the other thing that's weird is, he always makes Alan take his shoes off when he comes to his apartment because that's something his wife always made someone do.
Yeah, to not wreck the carpet.
And so he moves into his new apartment, and that's where that crazy bitch shows up, and I don't know if that's really a love interest or...
I think so, because he's nervous around her, and he always said that she's too attractive.
Yeah. So, and then Don Cheadle, talks with his wife on the phone, and she's like, I just want you to come home. And then he gets Charlie's scooter. And then, it shows him riding through the city on the scooter as the song Love Reign Over Me by Peter Townsend, who's from The Who, plays, and there's credits. So, that's kind of how it ends.
Yeah.
And as I said, it's an extremely sad movie. It's a full-on drama. I mean, of course, there's a little humor here and there. As I said, for an Adam Sandler movie that isn't an Adam Sandler movie,
yeah,
I really enjoyed it. Because it's you hear of all the other shit he's in, especially nowadays.
Oh, yeah.
It's fucking awful.
Jack and Jill.
Yeah, Jack and Jill, fucking That's My Boy, Bedtime Stories.
Yeah.
Grown Ups 2, Grown Up
That's
Year.
My Boy wasn't so bad.
No,
But Jack and Jill was pretty terrible. Grown Ups, yeah.
2.
Grown Ups 2 is...
Grown Up Year. And, yeah, he's really mailed it in with a lot. And this was 2007, so this was 8 years ago. So,
It's 2015 now.
So, I mean, I give him credit for this movie.
Yeah, I think he did really well.
And Don Cheadle did a really well job. I think overall it's just a great movie. As I said, it does drag on a little bit. It's very sad.
Mm-hmm.
It's very realistic.
Yeah. Don Cheadle is Hotel Rwanda, correct?
Yep.
Okay. That's another really good
He's
movie.
also War Machine from the...
He's also the principal from Mean Girls.
No, he's not.
Yeah, he is.
Nope, that's Tim Meadows.
Look it up.
I'm telling you, that's Tim Mean Girls.
What?
Yeah. Tim Meadows, Mr. Duvall. Yeah, he's the principal. That's the guy who plays the ladies' man.
I haven't seen that movie in a very long time. The Ladies' Man.
But, yeah, so Don Cheadle, great job. Liv Tyler does her usual, like, bubbly-faced.
With those
talker.
lips, she can't escape because of her father.
Charlie. Yeah.
Let me ask you something.
And then, yeah, as Adam Sandler, he kind of talks funny, but that's just his role. He doesn't do the fucking, like, yeah, and...
He just, like...
Yeah, and he just kind of talks, like, with... It's not like an accent, it's a dialect, more or less. And then, yeah, as I said, I enjoyed this movie. I remember I heard about it a while back, and I watched it. This is, like, the first time I've seen it since the very first time I watched it.
Yeah.
So, it's...
It played on HBO a lot.
Mm-hmm. It's not as well known, I don't think.
No, I remember seeing a lot of commercials for it, though.
Yeah.
When it first came out.
So, and it has a really good IMDb rating. It's got a 7.5 out of 10.
Yeah.
And it may, well, it didn't really do that well in the box office, so $20 million budget, it grossed about that much back. So, there's a lot of people who really liked Sandler's performance in this movie.
Yeah. And,
as I said, I highly recommend it. You liked it, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
As I said, it's just a little long. It says 2 hours and 4 minutes. And since it's a drama, there's not a lot of action. It makes it feel like it drags on.
Yeah. So,
Reign Over Me. If you're into dramas, I mean, obviously if you're not, don't go for it. But I won't say it's a tearjerker, but it's just a very, like, down-to-earth.
So wait, you would consider Powder a tearjerker over this movie?
Powder, yeah. Fucking Powder's sad.
Powder is not
Don't
realistic.
see fucking Adam Sandler running out getting struck by lightning. And
yeah, well, 9/11 happened, so it's realistic.
So do lightning storms. But anyway, check it out. I think you'll like it if you're into dramas. And I don't think we determined what our next movie is.
Yeah.
We'll be thinking about it.
Up in the air. But we always take I know we do a lot of them in advance, but we always keep movies suggestions in mind.
There are kind of like some, if we did like of a series of films, like if we ever did something like Back to the Future, all three of them, in one episode, or something like that.
That'd be a little longer, I think.
Yeah, or the Pokemon movies, into those.
What?
There's like 12.
I haven't seen. I used to have them all, and I haven't watched them since
Let's
98.
do all the Lane Before Times back to back to back to back to back to back
No,
to back
those are
to back
so
to back.
bad. I used to have to watch them with my nephew.
But anyway, we don't know. Just stay posted. Next week we'll get out a good episode with a good movie. Well, I don't know. Maybe we'll find a real shitty movie.
Yeah, maybe. Those are always fun.
But thanks for listening. This was a hoot
and a half.
We're going to go on continue being hungover.
Yeah.
So, thanks for listening. And until next time, stay classy.
See ya.